Monkey D. Garp is known as the hero of the Marines, and he is perhaps in his prime the most powerful Marine in history. He has fought the most infamous in the world, including Goldie Roger, Rox D. Zebek, and many more. He is the grandfather of Portkis D. Ace and Monkey D. Luffy, and the father of Monkey D. Dragon. In other words, his family line has some of the most infamous names in the world. What fascinates me about Garp's character is that there are so many layers to him. At the forefront, he's an easygoing, laid-back, and happy-go-lucky guy, very similar to Luffy, but as we discover the layers to his character, we begin understanding him a lot more. He is a man who is perhaps the face of the Marines. Being given the title, the hero of the Marines, many look up to him and use him as a beacon of hope in dark times. The children look up to him and the adults revere him. He is without a doubt a superhero in the world of One Piece. He's someone that has fought Goldie Roger, the king of the pirates, on many occasions, and whom even Roger respects as if he was one of his own shipmates. Not only that, but he was involved in the God Valley incident, which took place many years ago from the present time, and it involved Roger and Garp working together to take down the world's biggest taboo, perhaps the most notorious pirate in history, whose name was erased from the annals of history, Rox D. Zebek and his crew. Despite Garp's hatred for the Celestial Dragons, he's one of the biggest faces of the Marines. It is precisely why he is a Vice Admiral and non-Admiral. It is because if he promotes to the Admiral position, he would have to serve directly under the Celestial Dragons. That is why he refuses the position. Garp has many accomplishments in his life, but this was the incident that granted him the title Hero of the Marines. However, Garp is also a grandfather and a father, and he raised and loved both Ace and Luffy greatly. He promised Roger to take care of his son, which he did, but he could not quite convince Luffy or Ace to walk down the path of a Marine. Instead, they chose their own path, and the path they chose resulted in one of the biggest conflicts in the entire series, the Summit War in Marineford. At the forefront of the war was the execution of Garp's adopted grandson and Goldie Roger, the king of the pirates' biological son, Portkis D. Ace. Garp sat right next to Ace on the execution platform, facing one of the biggest internal tug-of-war conflict of any character I've ever seen amongst any manga or anime. On one hand, indeed he was Ace's adoptive grandfather, the man who raised him, loved him greatly as a parent would, and cares about him greatly. On the other hand, he is the hero of the Marines, a beacon of hope for the entire world, and a pillar of justice that the entire world can rely on to keep them safe. And he is a hero figure not just to the Marines, but to the children and adults around the world. One of the most emotional scenes in the entire series for me that never fails to pull on my heartstrings is when he tells Ace, "I have no sympathy for criminals, but for family, I do," and then asks him, "What am I supposed to do?" And indeed, what would happen if someone that revered and looked up to, the hero of the Marines, were to suddenly help, in the world's eyes, one of the most notorious pirates to sail the seas, and directly oppose the Marines in an ultimate act of betrayal that would leave many restless and hopeless. On the other hand, he's a parent, and he loves his family greatly. He knows who Ace is deep down, and he knows that just because he's Goldie Roger's son, it does not make him to seem like how the world sees him. The conflict was not just internal, you can even see it externally through his actions that determine his resolve. He punched Marco to keep him from reaching the execution platform and Ace, but when it came to Luffy, he could not bring himself to fight back, and let him go through to Ace to uncuff him. He was a man with perhaps the most experience and knowledge amongst any of the Marines there, but despite that tremendous experience and knowledge, he was at a loss, and he watched his grandson die right in front of his eyes, unable to have the resolve to either support or oppose it. It is perhaps in the aftermath, when he had to visit the Don whom he entrusted Ace and Luffy to when they were children, and who was like a mother figure to them, that we realize just how much of an impact Ace's death has on everyone involved, including the man who suffered the most, going through hell and high water just to watch his beloved brother die in his arms, Luffy, as we saw the extreme mental torture Luffy was under after watching Ace die. Garp is amazing, Oda's writing is phenomenal, and this is why Garp is one of my favorite characters in the series. I hope I did his character justice, no pun intended. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and take care.
俺は生まれてきてもよかったのかな。
そりゃあお前生きてみりゃわかる。